Welcome to the Doug Miller Show here on the Sunday Show Extravaganza. On today's show, we will be covering the NHL trade deadline, what's already been going on, today's trade deals, plus Blake Bortles getting an extension with Jacksonville, plus so much more, including Tyrod Taylor, Martavius Bryant, and even more than that. And we're going to start this right about now. Welcome everyone to the Doug Miller Show, Sunday Show Extravaganza. I am Doug Miller, your host for today. I cannot wait to start today's show. I am very excited. Many great topics so far, plus hopefully we don't even know that's going to be the whole thing. Well, because we got a few trades to talk about. We have extension talks, potential trades, and plus so much more. And of course, if you do like this video, please give it a like or even a dislike if you don't, and also leave a comment below and let me know what you feel. If you have any questions or anything sports related, view game wise, you want me to answer for the next show, leave it in the comments below. We're doing this a little bit differently than I normally do it. Normally what I do is have a do this on Facebook Live. I'm doing this on YouTube for a little bit, just to try it out for the Sunday show, and we'll go from there. This is like a test pilot. Eventually I want to do an actual podcast with like a microphone and all that sort of thing, but right now it's just me on my phone talking to you. So I hope you're all having a great day. I am too. Been a beautiful Sunday, just a little bit windy here in Lockport. But let's get right away into the first big story, which is the New York Rangers have made a trade. Well, they've been making trades all week, actually. They've been making trades for minor players, getting a few good deals. But today they landed a big fish. They landed probably the biggest fish, not named Evander Kane. You could call it potentially the GameCube of all trades. As we have, the New York Rangers have traded Rick Nash to the Boston Bruins. Rick Nash is 33 years old, and he's had about 18 goals, 10 assists in 60 games this season. His actual possession numbers are not actually that bad in comparison to most players. But compared to what he's been past years production-wise, if you care more about goals and assists than any advanced statistics, it's certainly been slower, but actually a little bit better than last year. And he's actually been a little bit more healthier this year too, which has been a big help. They have traded the Rangers at least 4 players in this deal, which is pretty good. The biggest being Ryan Spooner. He's had 25 points this season in 39 games, been injured, healthy scratch, with 9 goals and 16 assists. His advanced stats have not been that good, though. There's a lot of negatives in a lot of key places. He's primarily been, he's probably going to be a 3rd, 4th line center type guy, and he's going to be an unrestricted free agent this year, and he's 26. Maybe you're lucky to get over about 10, 15 goals, maybe 20 assists, 30-point season. That wouldn't be too bad for him. But other than that, you got Matt Bolesky, 0 goals, 0 assists, 0 points in 14 games. He's a cap dump. I think he's making about like $3 million on the cap. Jesus. And they got Ryan Lindgren. He has a 2nd-round pick from a couple years ago. He's a defenseman, so he'll probably be a top-line defender because that's what Boston drafts and trades. It's usually something like that. But the big fish in all of this, 2018 first-round pick. Probably going to be in the mid to lower 20s. If you're a Boston fan, you're probably going to think it's 31st. But it shows to me that Boston is ready to win now. they're ready to win now. Nothing more, nothing less. Rick Nash is 33. He's going to be an unrestricted free agent next year. I'm wondering where he's going to be next season. Is he going to could he go to a place like Chicago, take the veteran minimum, play with Kane and whatnot? That would be interesting. If not, maybe a Calgary, maybe a Buffalo. Probably not Buffalo. But hey, it could be fun to think about. Makes me, not want to cry with a Jack Eichel jersey. But like, you're not the only one getting traded. You're not going to be traded. Are you? But be serious here. Lingering could be something. Spooner's probably going to be gone at the end of the season. But the most important part, though, for Boston, Rangers retained 50% of Nash's salary. That's what they had to do to get him. Because if not, he would not have fit in this their salary cap. Because they are packed. That's going to be interesting in a couple of years once these guys get a little old. A little too old. Because let's face it, I think Charo's going to fall off a rock one day. And we're going to be like, what happened? And then you got... I forgot. Don't you hate it when you forget first-line centers? Bergeron. Bergeron's 32. He's getting up there. There's a few... McAvoy's 21. There are young players there, but their main core is getting up there. There's pieces there, so they'll probably be in playoff contention. I don't think it's going to be a total rebuild, but I think it's going to be interesting. The other interesting move has been with Toronto. They have gotten Thomas Plekanec from Montreal, which stinks for them because they have been... Montreal's probably going to be tearing it down. Plekanec is probably like the least of their worries. He's 35. He's going to be an unrestricted free agent next year. He's making $6 million. He's going to be the fourth line center. This is their Brian Boyle. Toronto's from a couple seasons ago. Instead of trading just a first-round pick and a couple prospects, they traded Kirby Reichel, Valiev, two guys that were buried in their system and probably might be getting some playing time with Montreal eventually. And a second-round pick. So they didn't even give up a first-round pick for this. This isn't that bad of a trade. Plekanec is getting up there, but Reichel's a good player for what they're probably going to be wanting to do. I don't think he's a first-line center. I don't think he's a star. He could be a third-line guy. He could be a second-line guy even for Montreal. They're going to need bodies if they're doing this rebuild like everyone's saying, and Pax Reg is going to be gone for crying out loud. They're going to need players. Renat Valiev could be in the lineup this year. I don't know. We don't know. Like I said, second-round pick. Toronto's got 1 million picks. They're good. They're not going to complain about that. Those are two of the biggest deals so far. I haven't seen anything so far yet. But it's going to be interesting to see because I don't think this trade deadline is going to be that boring. Just depends on what's going to happen today. What could happen today is a lot of moves that could change a lot of plays. What's going to happen tomorrow? Like, we're still waiting for Evander Kane. Now, he was benched last night. He's probably being benched today. Probably because either A, he doesn't want to get him hurt. B, there could be a deal in waiting. Usually those two are the only two, and they don't want, a Matt Duchene type thing when they're, midway through a game. They're like, Kane, hey, Kane, we gotcha. Guess what? You're going to Vegas, pal. Go, get out of here. Get. Don't even take out your skates. Just go in the airport with your skates on. Yeah, just keep going. Keep going. Can we bring out someone? No, we can't. Zemgus, you're getting more minutes. Yes. Oh, wait, no, you're being traded to Colorado. No. By the end of tonight's game, could be half the Sabres could be traded. It's going to be just... They have to bring Jack Eichel on a wheelchair. Go, run. But in all seriousness, the Sabres are going to be one of the more interesting teams that that are going to be sellers. What are they going to sell? They could sell Benoit Pouliot. He might be like a minor trade acquisition type deal. He hasn't been that bad for the Sabres. He hasn't been a star player either by any stretch of the imagination. And then there's the big fish out there, this guy named Evander Kane. I heard he's really good at scoring goals. And everyone tells me that he's a prick, an egomaniac, and a goal scorer. I think people will get away with being a rental. I don't know whoever trades for him will be getting a lot. I don't know if he's going to re-sign with them. I don't know if he's going to get a traditional first round. I wouldn't be surprised if they get a first round pick at this point. I mean, let's be honest here. If Rick Nash can go for a first round pick, if Tomek Plekanec can go for a second, I think you may get quite a few things for Rick Nash. For Evander Kane. I don't know if you're going to have to retain on salary. I don't think you'll have to. I'll just be interested who would trade for him. It'd be kind of interesting if Winnipeg trades for him again. Probably not going to happen. The Devils could trade for him. But they may have done their big splash with Grabner. Might just do a few smaller trades. But I'd also be interested, like I said, Pouliot would be an interesting name. To me, Erik Karlsson is the biggest fish out there. And that's probably Tampa or nothing at this point. If it's not Tampa, probably going to be... I couldn't tell you at this point. Maybe Washington. I could see Washington maybe going after Karlsson. Because they're crazy enough to do it. They did it for Shattenkirk last year. Why not them? But that would be my opinion. I mean, there's other players, probably a few minor players that we can think about, a few older players. And it'll also be interesting to see who will get signed within these next couple days from the Olympic teams. Any goalies, like Brian Giunta. He also has been signed by the Boston Bruins, one of the few players who has done that. Also, another team player that came to my mind is Vancouver with Thomas Vanek. Would be interesting where he's going. People have said Anaheim would be a good move for him. That would be interesting. To me, at least. Could be not interesting to you. But that's okay, because that's your opinion. It matters. It is the Doug Miller Show Sunday Extravaganza. I'm so glad you have joined the show. Please give it a thumbs up if you like this, a thumbs down if you don't. A like if you like this on Facebook, and angry face if you don't. Leave a comment below and let me know what you think about this. If you have a question for the next show, which will be on Wednesday, we'll see how this works. We might try this again on Wednesday if this works out. That'll be interesting. And also, if you're on Facebook, go on my page, Doug Andrew Miller. Watch the other videos on there. They are titled Doug Miller Show, episode 1 through 5. I think 1 through 6 now, including this one. And it will be relatively available. There will be, I cover a wide range of topics. I cover video games as well. Today is mainly a sports show because of what's been going on and what's been interesting. Like right now, I'm watching the Cavaliers, and I forget who they're playing. Hold on. Shows you how much I've been interested. I have not been looking at the TV. And the Spurs. So, very interesting game. But, let's get back to what we were talking about. This was the trade deadline. So far, and this hasn't even been the biggest trade so far. You've had big trades like Derek Broussard going to Philadelphia, and Ottawa getting their first round pick. Vegas getting Ryan Reeves out of that deal, surprisingly enough, and giving up a third. I think also to Ottawa. So Ottawa won big in that one. Funny how you see how a team could do in two separate trades, because people saw them as getting fleeced in the Duchesne trade because of how bad Duchesne's been. He's gotten a little bit better, but he hasn't been production like he was a couple years ago with the Avalanche. And now people are like, oh, they did a pretty good job in that Broussard trade. And I mean, they got a first and a third. Not bad. And they could get a big haul for Erik Karlsson. Like, at this moment, I'm waiting for a notification to pop up on my phone and say, Erik Karlsson is a Tampa Bay Lightning. That would be great. Or a Capital. I want to see if he becomes a Capital, dang it. That would make me laugh. But speaking of making me laugh, Blake Bortles. He is getting a contract extension. Actually, it's a contract restructuring. He's getting 2 more years, but they're throwing out this year because he was getting $19 million guaranteed. They kind of did a restructuring in which he's owed less money this year, but can be paid more over time with an incentive-related contract. The deal is like $54 million, $26 million guaranteed. The contract could be up to $66 million with incentives. So they're like, here you go. Here's $26 million. If you don't suck, you're getting 66. So what is... This was right after the owner, Shah Khan, was like, we're giving everyone extensions. Tom Coughlin, you get an extension till you're 850. Doug Marrone, you look like you've been eating a bag of chips. You're getting caviar, my friend. You get an extension. So on and so forth. Everyone in the front office was getting extensions. Heck, I even got an extension by the Jaguars. I don't even work for them. I look like a nerd with numbers. They would beat me up. Same in Cleveland. But either way, yeah. It's a little bit of cap relief for this season so they can spend a little moolah. Probably try to get Allen Robertson and Marquise Lee back in this team. But it's a first-round pick. That's what Blake Bortles was to them. They valued him a lot. But also, on the other hand, Doug Marrone said in the beginning of this season that he would make their running backs run like 25 times a game and not like Blake Bortles throw one pass. That's how much he values Blake Bortles. And if you see the stats on him, he's thrown for over 14,000 yards in his career. He has thrown over 10 interceptions every year since his rookie year. The least amount has been this year with 13. Nearly a pick a game, and that is the low. We complain about Tyrod Taylor here, and I have my opinions about Tyrod Taylor in Buffalo in a moment. I'll let you guys know about what I think of him. But Blake Bortles is not that good of a quarterback. He is like to quarterback like I am apparently to English today. Botching it either way. Blake Bortles has thrown a 4,000-yard season once in 2015, has not gone there since. His yards has actually gone down. His picks have maintained, his touchdowns have gone down. Fifth-year quarterback that was like a top 5 overall pick. He's not even the best quarterback in his class. That's Derek Carr. I would probably say by far if Derek Carr didn't suck last year. But the question is, how good is this team going to be around him? What happened they lose an Allen Robertson? What happened they lose a Marquise Lee? What happened they lose? What happened if Leonard Fournette goes down in production next year? They already cut Chris Ivory, which was a good move, by the way. He was a third running back that was making $6 million. That's just too much money. I like Chris Ivory. I think he will be a backup next year somewhere else. But he's not a number one guy, and they were paying him number one guy money. Their number one guy is Leonard Fournette. And then it's TJ Yeldon is their number 2 by far. And Ivy was just there collecting a paycheck and occasionally getting the ball. He was inactive most of the year and ineffective the other times. But getting back to Blake Bortles, I don't know why they value him so much. It's probably not that much because it wasn't that guaranteed, the contract. It wasn't that high, the 26. It's only for 3 years, and I think they can get out of it kind of easily. I mean, you saw him in the AFC title game. That fourth quarter, he withered up and died. That's all he did. He's withered up and died. And the Patriots didn't play that well. But yet, at the end of the day, when Blake Bortles was needed, when Tom Brady was coming back for the 13,000th time, he was nowhere to be found. He threw balls underthrown. He overthrew them. He nearly threw a pick. So he beat the Bills in probably one of the worst playoff games I ever seen in my life. Whoop-de-doo. You only need to score 10 points. So you shocked the Pittsburgh Steelers. The Pittsburgh Steelers were so far ahead, they already saw what was going on next week. Although he did look impressive in the Pittsburgh game. He didn't look impressive versus Buffalo. That Buffalo team defense kept him in that game. And Tyrod Taylor took a nasty hit and concussion, but he wasn't that effective. Nathan Peterman wasn't going to save that team. By God. He looked like scared to life Tony Romo. And Tony Romo was like, yeah. I felt bad for Tony Romo that game. He had nothing. But his back is fine. So anyways, those are my general opinions on that Blake Bortles thing. I don't think that's a good idea. But that still gives him room just in case they want to draft a quarterback, in case someone falls to him, which seems laughable. Would do that. It could happen. But I also want to give you my opinions real quick on... Actually, no, we'll save the NFL draft quarterbacks till after the Combine. I want to see the Combines. I even want to see some pro days before I get my opinions out about the top quarterbacks. Everyone's doing their mock drafts and whatnot. I'm not ready to do that. You know why? We're only going by what we saw in the regular season. Regular season showed us a lot. I do like seeing the Combine. It's a whole bunch of nothing. I do think it's interesting for quarterbacks, though. So we see what can they throw in the pocket. Granted, no one's running after them. I wish there were a few drills in the actual Combine like that, where they have to go like in the game scenarios. That would be interesting. Same with pro days. Those are just glorified Combines. If the Combine never existed, we still have pro days. That's why people say, if you ever cancel the Combines, that no one would be playing. You would actually have like 100 different Combines. ESPN would make a ton more money. The NFL Network would make a boatload more money. Instead of having Rich Eisen come out for the 5th straight hour and be like, it's NFL Total Access, Hour 6. I'm Rich Eisen, and I wished I never left ESPN. But let's get on to Tyrod. If you actually watched my video on Facebook Live, we talked a little bit about Tyrod and how the Bills are not worried about eating the $6 million. They're not going to cut Tyrod right away. Now, they didn't say they're not going to trade him. They didn't say they were going to trade the guy. But they're not going to cut him right away. I think they want to see what they're going to get in the draft first. If they can get a Josh Rosen or Sam Darnold by trading up to 2, 3, 4, they're going to do it. I would see them cutting Tyrod or trading him at the actual draft. But if not, I could see them just keeping him for a season. I don't think that's the worst option. I think he's the best option of what you can afford, because you can't afford Kirk Cousins. Yeah, you can cut Tyrod, but there's $30 million you're probably going to pay Kirk Cousins. That's a lot of money for a middle-of-the-line quarterback. You have a middle-of-the-line quarterback at like $16 million, $18 million. That doesn't sound so bad anymore, does it? You can spend $18 million on a guy who's about the same, if not slightly below or slightly above its supposed top Fitch, or you get the middle-of-the-line quarterback. You get slightly better Andy Dalton, who screamed, "You like that?" once or twice, and makes Jay Gruden look like a little bit of a genius. Have fun in Washington. Don't call them Redskins. Alex Smith. By the way, I'm guaranteeing something. I hope that comes back. The changing of the name of the Washington football team. I really do. It's only going to happen if the Washington team sucks. If you're a Washington fan, I'm sorry, but there could be a chance that could actually really happen. Because Alex Smith is a decent quarterback. He's not a franchise guy. He could probably get you to 8 wins. That's it. But let's continue with Tyrod, though. He was okay last year. He wasn't as good as everyone's saying he was, but he wasn't as bad as every one of the haters were. I was a hater. I did not like Tyrod a couple years ago. I thought we gave him a little too much credit. You had Sammy Watkins, you had Robert Woods, and you didn't perform with them. They went to L.A. Robert Woods became a really good football player somehow. That could be because of Sean McVay and his wacky, crazy offense. And it could also be because Robert Woods is an actual good wide receiver that can make good throws consistently. And Sammy Watkins showed flashes of what he can be, which is a great wide receiver. He wasn't doing that with Tyrod. Tyrod does not know how to throw in the middle very well. And that's an honest critique. Tyrod trusts his legs too much. That's just how he is. I can't critique him on that. Tyrod, I heard, was injury prone. I don't think he's injury prone. I don't even think he gets injured as much as the most running quarterbacks did, like Michael Vick or RG3. RG3 stepped on a field and he shattered his leg. Tyrod really hasn't gotten injured that much. He's probably missed like a game or two, if not just one game a season. He's been relatively healthy. And most of those games was because we benched him. Because, Nathan Peterman looked like the hot hand that day. And then Nathan Peterman looked like Nathan Peterman, so we had to throw back Tyrod in. There you go. But honestly, after that, what do you have? What do you actually have? Are you going to sign Case Keenum to $24 million? Are you going to try to get Sam Bradford? I don't think that's a good idea. What are you going to do? Here's what you should do. You should trade for Martavius Bryant. Trade a third-round pick. Heck, trade one of your seconds for Bryant. It's worth it, I think. People call him a brat, not a team player, a crybaby. Not liking his position in a team that was loaded with wide receivers last year. And he was like the 4th option. He smoked the weed. But overall, his potential is too high. I think it's worth more than the risk. And I would say that 9 times out of 10 for this kid. For any kid like that. If you would offer me Josh Gordon, I would do it. It's not like Josh Gordon did anything wrong domestically. He wasn't abusing anyone. All he was doing was abusing substances. As soon as he cleaned himself up, he came back to the Browns. He looked like Josh Gordon again. Martavis Bryant, when he cleans himself up, will probably look just as well, if not compared to most of the wide receivers in the NFL, one of the better ones. I would want that. And if you can get that for a third-round pick, do it. Do it now. You're not going to have Jordan Matthews. If you have Tyrod, you need someone who can go down the field. Brian can do that. And you still need someone who can get a good... who can do also, like, your curl routes, things like that. He can do that for you. And you got Zay Jones. He would be a good number 2. I don't think he's a number 1, though. And then you got and then you can just go from there. You can pick players here and there. There is a good wide receiver crop this year. You can get a good wide receiver at a good price. So I think one of the top places you got to go in free agency, go for a wide receiver, because I don't think it's going to be there in the draft this year. I think this is a bad year for receivers. Draft one later in the draft, call him a project player, don't care. Don't draft him in your first few rounds. Draft a quarterback in the first round, which, that reminds me, I know we're keeping Tyrod, but that still doesn't change the fact that your grandpa is saying,
young man, the Bills will draft a quarterback in the first round.
Your friends?
Young man?
Your sister's friends saying,
the Bills will draft a quarterback in the first round.
The drunk man on the sports talk radio is saying,
I think you should shut up for 5 minutes. I think you...
He eventually said that they should draft a quarterback in the first round. And also, your friendly neighborhood crackhead across the street will probably say,
listen, I'll tell you whatever you want me to say. As long as I get the crack, I don't care.
And then eventually, when we oblige, he then ran away and then didn't say anything. We did not sell. This is a proclaimer. I recorded all this. This is just...
listen, I'll tell you whatever you want me to say.
This is all fake news. Before anyone say I was doing any of that, that was all me, because...
The Bills will draft a quarterback in the first round.
Bills will draft a quarterback in the first round.
Yeah. I asked them the question. They wanted to.
Listen, I'll tell you whatever you want me to say.
Yeah, this is all voice recorder here, man.
The Bills will draft a quarterback.
But this is just a sound thing we have. But needless to say, the Bills will draft a quarterback in the first round. They're going to probably trade up their picks. I hope they get Josh Rosen. I think he's one of the better ones out there. And plus, he's really good with the trick shot. Yeah. And every time he plays, this plays in my head. Yep. That's what plays in my head. A bunch of horns. Hopefully you guys watched the Elimination Chamber. I will tonight, of course. Other than that, guys, that's all I have for tonight. This has been the Doug Miller Show, Sunday Show Extravaganza. I have been, of course, your host, Doug Miller. Another show will be on Wednesday. We'll try to do it again. Hopefully we won't suck at it. And if you do think we do, let us know. Other than that, though, I hope you guys have a good day, a good Sunday, and of course, I will say this at the end of all of this. Peace and love, everyone.